Hello, you guys. So this is me, Stevie B, in Zambia for my first ever live on TikTok and my first in a very long time on YouTube. So I'm here to talk about all sorts of stuff. Feel free to ask me any questions that you might have. I am out here filming all new Deadly 60. So, we have obviously been filming this for 17 years now. Hello, Adam, first person to chip in. Thank you very much, mate. Really good to hear from you. Um, and we've been going for 17 years. And we are still going now today. And we're out here in Zambia filming things like cheetahs, and this morning, an epic snake search resulting in a gorgeous Anchieta's cobra, one of the snakes that we have had in deadly history. It was very, very special indeed. So yeah, I want to talk to all of you guys about wildlife, about the kind of things we do, and about all the stuff that I've got coming up over the next year or so, because it is a busy year. So I am starting with Deadly 60 starting on the ABC and ABC iView. That starts in early January. It's going out right now in Canada and America as well. And obviously back home in the UK, we've just finished a year of touring and stuff like that. So I've got my first tour in Australia for a very long time happening in January. We are starting off in Perth on the 9th of January and then heading to Canberra, Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney, Emerald Theatre, Newcastle, Melbourne. Did I say Brisbane? And Canberra as well. So anybody over there in Australia, I know that right now it's quite late on the East Coast, but Perth and on the West, a massive shout out to all of you lot. I will be out there very, very soon and can't wait to see you guys. So what can I tell you about where we are right now? So we're in Zambia. I'm on the Angolan border, place called Lewa Plains, which is a superb place to go looking for wildlife. It's one of the best places in the world to film cheetah for sure, and spotted hyena as well. We've been filming here, but this morning was superb because we were out looking for all kinds of cool stuff, and we came across a very, very big, very, very beautiful cobra right at the roadside. It's called an Anchieta's cobra. And we managed to film it up super close, film it in super slow motion, and it was very, very beautiful indeed. So yeah, Deadly is alive and well and loving it. So you guys get in touch if you've got any questions. Here we go. What's the top of the Deadly 60 chart? Asks Anonymous. Well, in terms of its all-round abilities, I think I'm going to go with the orca, the largest member of the dolphin family. So you've got an animal that is communicative, that can chat together, that can come up with all kinds of amazing ways of finding their prey, that are creative, that come up with new methods all the time, new strategies for finding their prey, whether that be coming up onto a Patagonian beach to catch a hold of a seal, or whether it be creating a bow wave to wash a seal off an ice floe and into the water down in Antarctica. So we have lots and lots of people in touch here, which is great, especially as this is my first one on TikTok. And so I was a little bit worried as to whether this would actually work. So we have someone here asking, is the polar bear the deadliest land animal? Well, polar bear is a real animal record breaker. So they are able to smell prey for as much as 20 miles away, which, is outstanding. They're one of the very strongest of all land animals. Calling it a land animal, you could call them a marine mammal because they spend almost their entire lives out on the pack ice, which is effectively sea. So Jim here asks, where am I at for my shows? I'm loving the things that are popping up in my head. Absolutely amazing. So I'm going to start off on the 9th of January in Perth. This is my Ocean Live tour. I'm going to be talking about all things marine, all things ocean. Hi, Assad, how are you? And I'll have life-sized ocean giants on stage, models of the biggest animals ever known to have lived. And we're going to go Perth, Canberra, Adelaide, Brisbane, Sydney, Newcastle, Melbourne, and be all over the place. Am I going to go and see Perth tiger snakes when I'm there? Yeah, I hope so. I know that the first thing we're going to do is going out looking for peacock jumping spiders, arguably the most beautiful of all invertebrates. And we're going looking for those in Perth. I have done tiger snakes a couple of times, including Karnak Island, which is wild. One of the snakiest places I've ever been in my life. Although right here, I have to say, It's pretty snaky too. We've had so many cobras in the last few days. It just blows my mind. Hello to MHSP Shadow. Thank you very much. Very, very nice to have you on board. Any questions you might have about wildlife, chuck them out there, and I will do my best to answer. So we've got someone here asking what my favourite animal is. That's a really good one. I've always had a real connection to wolves. I've considered them to be almost kind of like my spirit animal, and they keep on giving over the years. And then another animal like the orca that works together as a team, that's highly social, that's creative, that's intelligent. I love all that. Someone here saying they love my talks at Bangor University. Well, thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Yeah, I love Bangor as well. What a cracking place to go to university. You are very, very lucky to be studying there. Someone asking when I'm coming to the UK. So I'll be back for Christmas. But then I'm straight back out to Australia in early January. So someone here asking, where am I, Steve? So I'm going to be, I'm in Zambia right now. I'm in Zambia, but on the border with Angola. And it's a cracking place for wildlife. Someone asking about reintroducing wolves to the UK. It's a very, very hot topic. I guess reintroductions are something a lot of people are talking about. And when it comes to things like wolves, there's an awful lot of opposition against it. And we do lack space, certainly outside of the Highlands of Scotland. It's pretty tricky to find somewhere in the UK where there is enough room for wolves. But at the same time, if I'm going to be somewhere like here and I'm going to be telling people they have to make sacrifices to maintain nature, to maintain wildlife in their world, and we're not prepared to do it back home, I mean, it's pretty hypocritical for me to do that, isn't it? Someone asking, this is Shadow again, what's my favorite animal to encounter these days? So as someone who is obsessed with herpetology, that is the study of reptiles, amphibians, I love a good snake search. And this morning was a very special one. I would say finding king cobras, black mambas, puff adders in this part of the world, gaboon vipers, what a snake. Yeah, anything like that is going to completely blow my mind for sure. Here's another one. What would you think would be a beneficial animal to reintroduce? Depends where, doesn't it? So here in this part of the world, Leoa Plains in Zambia, reintroducing things like large predators makes a massive difference to how every other animal acts. So when you've got great herds of wildebeest, if they are encouraged to remain in the same place the whole time, they can devastate the environment. Whereas if they've got lions, spotted hyena, even cheetah, leopard around, it encourages them to keep moving. They don't overgraze particular areas. They always have to have at least one sentry on the lookout for other things. Introducing just a few apex predators can make a massive difference to the entire environment. Someone here asking who would win in a fight between a grizzly bear or a silverback gorilla. Not very fair fight. You've got one which is a herbivore that's big and impressive to scare off other animals. You've got one which is a true carnivore, and the biggest grizzly bears are the largest mammalian land carnivore. I mean, they are absolutely huge. Kodiak bears, absolutely massive. Someone here asking, will I do another documentary on wolves? Absolutely, yes. I have actually been trying to get some funding to go out and do a whole feature on wolves. There's one particular place in the Arctic which is the best place to go looking for them. It's expensive though, Ellesmere Island. So I need a good amount of cash behind me and quite a lot of time as well, because you need the animals to get used to you and to be comfortable with you around. So yeah, that would be an amazing thing. Someone here asking if I need an assistant. I mean, I have quite a few assistants. They're here right now working behind me. So I better not say that too loud because I get in trouble. What's my favorite book? That's not a question I get asked very often. When I was a kid, my favorite book was Jack London's Call of the Wild. And then when I started studying biology, I would say that the Malay Archipelago by Alfred Russel Wallace was my favorite. This amazing book about old-fashioned exploration, finding new species, but at the same time, encountering environments where very few people had ever been before. Someone here saying that they now have a career in ecology, having liked Deadly 60 when they were a kid. That is absolutely brilliant news. Sensational stuff. How many years have I been doing this? Someone asked. Well, I started at National Geographic in 1998, was their adventurer in residence for 5 years, which was just wild, and then moved to the BBC in 2003, and I've been there ever since. So yeah, it's been 25 years. Holy moly, that makes me feel old. Someone asking, what is the scariest situation I've been in with an animal? There's quite a lot of them, but then I have been doing this for 25 years, so it's not surprising really. But mostly it's been with things like elephant, hippos, large animals that are quicker than you, that if they decide that they're going to have a piece of you, it's very, very tricky to get away from them. Oh, this is a good one. Marvin asks, what's my number one herping spot in the world? So the snakiest days I've ever had have all been in Australia. One of those would be Karnak Island off the coast of West Australia. Another one would be Chapel Island in the Bass Straits, isn't it, between Tassie and the mainland. And the other would be in Tasmania itself. We went to this incredible location in Tasmania, myself and my cameraman Graham, who's here with me now, actually. And we found in one single afternoon more more tiger snakes, almost all the black morph of tiger snakes, than I've ever seen before. We were just tripping over them. They were everywhere. It was absolutely astounding. Buster asks, what's my favorite Australian animal? I mean, the peacock jumping spider that we're going to start off with filming when we get to Australia before I start my tour is beautiful, beyond beautiful. Even if you're someone who thinks you hate spiders, you have a look at a peacock jumping spider, you are going to love it. Someone here, Rhinos Random Stuff, asks, are we going to see some rhinos? There are no rhinos here at Lower Plains, but where we're heading to next, there are rhinos, so fingers crossed. Let's hope that works. Someone here asks, would I ever bring Deadly 60 back? That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm here right now. That's what I'm filming. Deadly is back. So if you are, well, there's about 100 countries around the world where Deadly is still out there. So, if you're in Australia, look it out on the iView. In the UK, we have a brand new series that's just come out. The new series is going to be in Australia in January. My favorite football club from Europe. And do I know Ajax? Of course, I know Ajax. I have to admit, I'm not massively into football. Sorry. But I'm more of a martial arts and kind of outdoor sports kind of person. What else have we got? Some lovely things coming here. Someone saying they're moving to Australia. Really good choice. What a cracking place to live. Lots and lots of people that it's amazing that Deadly 60 is out there still. I know that it was a big thing for a lot of people's childhood. Well, it's still going after all these years, 17 years in, and I am still making it, and I have no chances of giving it up just yet. So we have people from all over the place getting in touch. This is great. I've got people from the Middle East getting in touch, people from South America. Isn't it the middle of the night in South America? And this is new to me, I have to say. So many apologies if I'm getting all the tech wrong. But anyway, yes, huge shout out. Anyone got any questions they'd like to ask about wildlife? About what I'm doing here. Someone here saying, oh, what martial arts do I do? Good question. Yeah, so I started martial arts when I was 5 years old with judo. I have a black belt in judo now, but I also have done over the years Muay Thai, kickboxing, several different kinds of karate. Martial arts has been a massive part of my life and hopefully always will be. What's my favorite shark to swim with and why? I have a big soft spot for oceanic white tips. Once you're in the water around them, they are very curious, very pugnacious. They'll come up and bounce their snouts off your camera, getting super close to you. And they're a very, very graceful shark. The way they move is incredibly beautiful. Plus, incredibly threatened too. They are critically endangered in most parts of their range. In some places, like the Gulf of Mexico, they've lost at least 95% of their numbers. So yeah, I'm going to go oceanic white tip. There's an amazing question there about nudibranchs, and it's just gone scampering past. How do I do that? Someone asking, how did I get into my line of work? So I started off, I made my own film in the 1990s, and I went out to Colombia, took a video camera with me, filmed myself catching snakes and spiders and scorpions, and I sold it to National Geographic, and I've been doing it ever since. And what a rocking way to make a living. I have Reese here asking, what's my favorite spot in Australia? Hi from Perth. Cracking place to be, Reese. I very much hope that you will come along to my tour in January. 9th of January, we're going to be in Perth with my Ocean Live tour. Check it out on Ticketek and things like that. And I'd love to see you there. My favourite animal in Australia, love a thorny devil, love a weedy sea dragon. Weedy and leafy sea dragons are two of the most rocking animals you'll ever see. If you haven't seen one of those before, look it up online. Weedy or leafy sea dragons. They're in the seahorse group, but they're more elongated, more camouflaged, utterly jaw-droppingly beautiful. Parcellus from Holland, watched Deadly 60 since they were young. Amazing, amazing. Well, I hope you also watch my good friend Freek Vonk on his shows in Holland as well. He's a legend there and one of the greatest out there. So yeah, I'm sure you're very familiar with Freek. And he's got so much energy. Seriously, he's got more energy than I have, and that is really saying something. Um, did I answer one about how I got into my line of work? I kind of did, didn't I? Someone saying I've got the coolest job in the world. Yeah, I mean, I do kind of agree. um, did I oh crumbs, things are going absolutely zipping past me. From Ireland, hello to everyone in Ireland. Really nice to meet you guys. Hello from the Falkland Islands. Oh my gosh, the Falklands. What an amazing place to go looking for wildlife. Yeah, I mean, we have filmed orca there, penguins, king penguins. What a rocking place. And yeah, windswept, wild, rugged. It's got everything. You know, you've got some of the greatest wildlife you could possibly ask for. Will I come to Melbourne? Asked Buster. Yes, I will. I'm going to be in Melbourne in January doing my Ocean Live tour, and it's going to be a corker. If you're into any kind of wildlife, doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, if you like wildlife, you're going to love my Ocean Live tour. So come along in Melbourne. Can't remember the name of where we're going. Is it no QPAX Brisbane, isn't it? Hamer Hall. Hamer Hall's where we're going to in Melbourne. We've got more people here on YouTube. Oh yes, we love Freek. Of course you love Freek. Everyone loves Freek. What's my favorite animal encounter that I have had in the wild? There are so many. I think that a lot of the ones that were on my whale series or my shark series, where we had a lot of time, we had more chance to properly get to know the animal and to build up a relationship with them over time, were some of the best. You know, a humpback whale calf that danced around me for an hour and a half underwater, coming up with its pectorals spread wide like this, like it was coming in for a great big cuddle. I mean, you don't get much better than that, do you? Tiger or bull shark, most deadly? Well, in their world, you know, they're both perfect, aren't they? The tiger shark with its teeth serrated like a can opener, able to cut through things like turtle shell, sinew. They're pretty unstoppable. Bull sharks, though, with that incredibly full-on nature, able to penetrate into freshwater ecosystems, to hunt in the murkiest estuaries. I mean, yeah, they both absolutely rock. Someone asked if I'm touring in the UK. Yes, I'm going to be doing my Longleat residency again in the spring. And then I have an arena tour in the UK in October. How cool is that? I'm going to be playing in arenas. So like the O2 and Manchester and Birmingham, you know, massive, great big theatres, like 14,000 people at a time, which I'm not at all scared about. But it's going to be amazing. What I have here, what was the most dangerous place I've been to while filming my shows? Well, you know, filming with wildlife is so rarely dangerous to us as human beings. Most animals will do anything to avoid having an interaction with us that could be negative. But people are much more frightening than animals could ever be. So, you know, there are situations where we've gone out, we've been in the field, been in the jungle for months on end. Nothing bad's happened to us. We come back, go to a big city and get held up at gunpoint. So, yeah, people are so much more frightening than animals could ever be. Reese saying, I just got my scuba diving license. Fair play to you, Reese. That is absolutely genius. Amazing stuff. And are you going to come along to my Perth tour? Nice. There's a cracking spot, a really easy spot. I think it was called Bustleton Jetty on the west, not far away from Perth, where we filmed Blue Ringed Octopus, which was a really good spot. But you know, obviously, if you go further up the coast, Ningaloo, Exmouth, you know, they're some of the best places in the world. Adam Lord, it's probably the environment that's more deadly than the animals. Yes, absolutely, 100%. And I would say, you know, being up a big mountain, being in the Himalayas, being somewhere where you can get hit by an ice fall or by an avalanche is always going to be more dangerous than the animals are. This is so cool. I've got people from all over the world getting in touch. Someone saying I've aged so well. Well, that's very kind of you to say so. I'm sure you wouldn't say that if you were much closer to me, because I look pretty ragged this morning. I've been up since 4 o'clock again, every single day this week. We've been up since super early. We've been going out looking for cheetah, spotted hyena. We've actually filmed cheetah hunts here in super slow-mo, which has been epic. And then this morning out snake searching, finding an Anchieta's cobra, which is one of the most beautiful you could ever see. Absolutely glorious. Top 3 countries I've ever visited. Big soft spot for Australia for the kind of things that I do. Australia is a really special place, much more diverse than people realize. Tasmania, I love Tassie. And then I'd probably go like Guyana, Suriname kind of area, really diverse, loads and loads of stuff going on. And then probably the Pacific seamounts. I know it's not a country, but you know, in terms of marine life, where you're looking to try and see somewhere that is what our oceans have been like for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years before human beings turned up and wrecked things. The seamounts of the Eastern Pacific are the best. Reese is back in touch. He's been to Bustleton Jetty. Of course you have, Reese. I like the cut of your jib, sir. Jacob saying that Tasmania is a really interesting place to turn out. It is. Tassie is so underrated. The diving in Tasmania as well is just weapons grade. So yeah, absolutely get stuck in. Tasmania is sensational. Yeah, so I've got people here from, and some more people in Australia. Awesome stuff. So yeah, someone from Sweden's got in touch. Well, very, very nice to make your acquaintance. Didn't even know my shows were in Sweden. How about that? That's brilliant. So what else can I tell you? Yeah, because there's so many people in touch, they're all zipping past at a million miles an hour. I cannot keep up with it. Ireland, England, Newcastle, Wales. Fantastic. Really, really good to have you all on board. Has anyone got any questions they would like to learn about animals? Anyone who has anything they'd like to ask about, particularly my speciality, which is going to be herpetology, so snakes and salamanders, frogs, that kind of stuff, lizards, or someone asked me to talk about sharks. I can talk about sharks all day, my friend, but what would you like me to say? Is there anything particular you would like me to talk about? Becca asking, is Deadly 60 making a return? It's out there already, Becca. So the new series dropped in September. The next one will be out probably next September in Australia. It is hitting the screens in January. Bland Bluckett. That is some name. Says, thank you for sharing the wonders of the natural world and for keeping us educated on threats to the environment. I've got someone else here again asking, am I ever going to do Deadly 60 again? I mean, I feel in danger of repeating myself, but I am actually here filming Deadly 60 as I'm speaking to you guys. So yeah, I'm taking a little break from actually filming. The other guys, they're doing all of the downloading the material and stuff like that, and I'm talking to you. So someone asking Jacob how to find snakes in the UK. That's a really good question. So this is a bad time of year for it. In fact, it's just never going to work this time of year. But if you're in the UK and you want to find a snake, I would wait till spring. I would head to Heathland. Doesn't really matter where in the country it's going to be. Go out kind of like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning as things are starting to warm up, particularly if it's a sunny day, and look around the edge, the fringing edge of Heathland, around the bracken and the gorse, and you may well see adders coming out into the open, possibly doing their mating battles, which is just phenomenal. So yeah, I mean, it's absolutely possible to find snakes in the UK, but this time of year, no, forget about it. It's absolutely not going to happen. Have I done something in Suriname? Yes, I've done three big expeditions in Suriname, and it's one of the best places in the world for untouched forest. It is an old Dutch colony, and everyone that I've worked there with has been Dutch and has been really clued in to some of the parts of Suriname that are little known or not known at all. In fact, we had the incredible experience of doing an expedition there where we traveled down a river. We spoke to local people, first of all, brought some of them with us to make sure that we were keeping in touch with the local people. We were showing respect to them and to their environment. But we got to travel down a river that doesn't occur on any maps, that didn't have a name. We got to give it a name in the local language. We called it Ghost River because it was a ghost. It was a phantom. It had no name. And as we were traveling down this river, we found a waterfall that was 100 meters high, the second highest waterfall in the nation, and nobody had ever seen or recorded it before, which was an incredible experience. We spoke to the local people and they were blown away. They were like, no, we haven't been there before and we've got no knowledge of that. That's brilliant. And they allowed us to name in the local language, again, after our local representative who had been with us on the expedition. And it was very special. Yes, Suriname absolutely rocks. Alex from the youth program at Taronga. Oh, that was such a special day. I had an absolutely amazing time with you all there at Taronga. I cannot wait to be back with you in January because yeah, it was something else. And yeah, massive shout out to you. Thank you so much for coming along. I've got questions absolutely rocketing in now. Quite a lot of them about football. Come on, seriously, that is not my specialist subject. Give me something about snakes. I'm much more capable of dealing with that. Undeadly 60, someone suggests here. I mean, are you talking about zombies? Or are we talking about cute animals? I could do either. I'm quite open to doing either of those things. Someone here talking about Perth. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to be in Perth. 9th of January is the first date of my Australia tour, my Ocean Live tour, which will be, very much cracking it out in Perth as well. What do I think about invasive species in the Everglades in Florida? That's a really, really good question. I've been lucky enough to go looking for Burmese pythons in the Everglades, which is it's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. You know, really hard to find in their native habitat. And yet you go out in the Everglades, and on one single morning of snake searching in the Everglades, in this swamp where they should not be, we found about four. And the biggest one of those was as thick around as my thigh. And it must be so damaging. Imagine all of a sudden having this whopping great invasive predator that the environment is just not suited to, that suddenly turns up. Nothing has evolved to predate on it. It is capable of eating just about everything else. It's absolutely wild. So yeah, invasives in the Everglades is a real frightening threat. My favorite Deadly 60 episode, I have to say, you know, we've been filming here in Zambia on the Angola border for the last 4 days. And what we've seen here has been some of the best stuff we've ever done. You know, I've been filming this for 17 years now. And yet I would say that the things that we've recorded here, the cheetah hunts, the giant snakes, I mean, it's just been absolutely rocking. So yeah, it just keeps getting better and better. What have I got here? With the warm weather, do you think deadliest spiders will make home in the UK now? That's a cracking question. What a great question. And it's particularly pertinent for me because I live in southern England in the UK, and I have a house riverside that's probably about 30 miles outside of London. And our most common spider now is the false widow, Steatoda nobilis, or what's the other one? Or grandis. And we get more of those than anything else. And I would have said that 15, 20 years ago, I had to search really hard for false widows, and now they are everywhere. So yes, 100%. You know, people are talking about malaria coming back to the UK. It could absolutely happen. And yes, those warming temperatures are very much going to be a part of that. Someone here asking, how bad was the bullet ant sting? So one single bullet ant sting is pretty full on. It's, you know, they call it a bullet ant because it feels like being shot. So yeah, one sting is pretty bad. Being stung a lot is more than you can handle. So doing the bullet ant ritual, where I was stung hundreds of times to the hands by bullet ants, was the most overwhelming pain that I've ever had for about 3 hours. There was nothing in my world apart from pain, and it was completely overwhelming. So yes, easily the most painful thing ever. There's someone here saying, OMG, I love you so much. I fall asleep to your show. And I'm sure you think that that's a compliment, but it kind of doesn't feel like it. You make it sound like my shows make you fall asleep, which is fair enough. You know, whatever it takes to get you to sleep, I'm here for that. That's absolutely fine. Solomon asks, when am I coming to Sydney? I'll be at the Enmore Theatre in Sydney, middle of January. Tickets are on Ticket Tech, and I will do my very best to do a meet and greet after every show to come and say hello to everyone, because you know that is absolutely what I am here for. I think you know, if I'm coming to Australia, I want to see you guys. There's an awful long place for me to. Oh, someone said, the person who falls asleep to my show says it's because it's in a different time zone. Well, thank you very much for clarifying that. It's really good to hear. Yeah, so absolutely, on my Ocean Live tour in January in Australia, I will be doing my very best to come and say hello to all of you guys, because it's really important to me to say that. Someone here saying, is Bangor a good place to study herpetology, Steve? Of course it is. 100%. You know, the Bangor Herpetology Society are cracking people. I've got a couple of new scientific papers coming up with them. Actually, I won't tell you what they're about yet because they're not published. But we have some new science that we've been working on Deadly. And I can tell you one bit of it because it is really cool. But I had seen quite a bit of stuff about glow-in-the-dark sharks, particularly from South Africa. Certain kinds of shark that, in the right kind of conditions, will biofluoresce, and so you actually see them glowing bright yellow in the dark at night. And so I thought, well, there's kinds of shark in the UK that are related to those sharks. No one's ever seen it before, but I reckon that must be possible. So I went down and I filmed it with some friends a few weeks ago, and we got the first ever footage of glow-in-the-dark sharks. Massive shout out to Sonny, to Mark, to Rob, to you guys for coming along with helping out with that filming. But yes, we're going to get a paper out about that super soon. Glow-in-the-dark sharks in the UK. How cool is that? Someone asking what my favorite bit about visiting the Falkland Islands was. Of course, I don't mind you asking. Favorite bit about the Falklands, I think, would be the king penguins. Or, oh, we had an amazing encounter with the black and white dolphins. Were they Commerson's dolphins? Which was so special. They wouldn't leave us alone. They were in the water with us for about 3 hours. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, someone asking, what is herpetology? Very good question. Herpetology is the study of cold-blooded animals such as the reptiles and the amphibians. So I wrote my master's thesis on salamanders and the toxins of salamanders, the first ever venom to be described in salamanders. And so that's kind of my specialist subject, that and I guess marine biology as well. Someone asking, is university studies required for doing conservation work? It's certainly very, very useful. So there are so many people out there that are coming out of university that have their qualifications that you're going to be competing against those people. So yeah, absolutely. If you can get qualified in some area of conservation biology, then you have a much better chance of cracking into it. But that doesn't mean that you are absolutely shut out to it if you don't. It's just that it will give you a bit of a head start. Connor Thompson, this is a great question. Could an escaped corn snake survive in a UK household? One escaped in a box as I cleaned it, and I've never seen it since. Connor, that is a genius question. I absolutely love it. And you know what? The reason I love it so much is that the exact same thing happened to me, except it was with a Taiwanese beauty snake that was nearly 2 meters long. It escaped in my house, got out of its vivarium, disappeared completely. This was when I was living in a 2 up, 2 down, tiny little house. And the kind of the worst bit about it was that my housemate's girlfriend was terrified of snakes. And so we had to pretend that it had gone to the vet because we couldn't let her know that there was a snake on the loose in the house. And it was gone for 6 weeks, couldn't find it anywhere. And then one day was going through a shoebox in one of the back rooms, and this 2-meter snake was curled up in the shoebox inside. Can it survive? Of course it can survive. There's so many things that, snakes can feed on, and they can go for a long time without eating. So yeah, absolutely awesome. Luke Horn saying, because I'm heading to Australia, they want to know what my favorite Aussie animal is. The thorny devil or the blue-ringed octopus, the irukandji. What an animal. So yes, 100%. Here's someone there talking about Bunbury. What a Bunbury. What a cool place that is. What's my closest theatre I'm going to Bunbury? Is Sydney, I guess, the closest? I mean, I can't remember off the top of my head. Or is it closer to Melbourne? Forgive me, my geography's gone all over the place. Whatever, I will be on my Ocean Live tour in Australia in January. Sydney, Newcastle, Adelaide, Canberra, Perth, Brisbane. I think that's all of them. Did I hear about the frozen saber-toothed kitten that was found? Are we talking about a baby saber-tooth found in the permafrost or in the ice? I didn't hear about it. Although a saber-toothed kitten, how cool would that be? I've got to say that is outstanding. I have though seen a baby mammoth frozen in the permafrost, and the most remarkable thing when you start looking at the woolly mammoth is how recent they were around. It's believed in places like Wrangell's Island off the coast of Alaska, there were mammoths as recently as 3,000 years ago. So there were pyramids in Egypt, and there were still mammoth walking across the Arctic permafrost. How cool is that? What's my scariest snake experience? Snake experiences are very rarely scary. If you work with snakes for a long time, then you get a sense of what their striking distance is, how you can be relatively safe close by to them. And so it's usually an overwhelmingly uplifting experience because they're much more beautiful than people tend to think. Loving this on TikTok, by the way. This works really well. Quite apart from the fact that things keep popping up on my head. Stop it, you all. You're making me look silly. Although I did like the hat. Can I get the hat one back? That made me look like some kind of bushman. I absolutely love it. What's the most fascinating thing I learned about venom? That's a good subject. So, the study of venoms and toxins is called Venomics, and Venomics has so much about it that's fascinating. One of the things I think that is probably most interesting is that if you look at one particular kind of snake and you look at its venom, which is already incredibly complex and has lots of different ways of working, be that neurotoxins, cytotoxins, cardiotoxins that affect you. There's my hat, loving it. Cardiotoxins that have, and a moustache as well. This is even better. I like that. I think I might have to actually start wearing a moustache. Yes, look at that. I like it. I look, yeah, I'm not so sure about the TikTok hat, but the tash is working it for me. Um, yeah, so when you study the venoms of one particular kind of snake, you will find that it has a complex mix of these different toxins, but that can be completely different for the baby snake, for the adult snake, and you can travel a month, there's sort of a mile or two in either direction, and find a completely different mix of those components, all in the venom of the same species of snake, which is just wild. The most painful thing that's ever happened to me was being stung by all those bullet ants, which was crazy. I described my thoughts on what a megalodon would look like. That's a good question. So, the teeth of megalodon are some of the best represented things in the fossil record. There are millions of them out there, and they've given us a really good idea of what megalodon would have looked like. But now, since we've started to recover parts of the rest of their skeleton, their cartilaginous skeleton, particularly their spinal nodes, nodules, and vertebrae, have given us the sense of quite how big megalodon actually was. In the 1990s, when I was studying biology, we were thinking that it was probably not that much bigger than a great white. Now we realize they're more like the size of a sperm whale, so absolutely enormous. Max, does it annoy me when people use poisonous and venomous as the same thing? It really does. Yes. I'm sorry to anyone that doesn't know. Poison and venom are not synonymous. They're not the same thing. So poison has to be ingested, that is eaten to have its lethal effect. A venom has to be injected using spines, spurs, fangs, or claws to get into your bloodstream in order to work. Someone talking about ii in Madagascar. Yeah, ii, probably the most peculiar. Oh, that's a new one. I like that. The most peculiar of all lemur species. Great big long extended finger, which they use for plucking bugs out of trees and things, which is just superb. Someone here who's seen just did your scientific article on venom. Nice, Sam. That is absolutely brilliant work. I am very, very glad to hear it. What's my best wildlife spot in England? Arzacili. I think the Arzacili, in terms of seagrass meadows, under the sea, bird life, puffins, gannets, sunfish, basking sharks, minke whale, humpback whales, just sublime, absolutely fantastic. Will I be filming snow leopard anytime soon? So we did an expedition in Kyrgyzstan on snow leopards, and it was wild. And yes, I will absolutely be doing more. Darts fan, where am I at right now? I am in Zambia on the border with Angola, and we're filming cheetah, spotted hyena, and also this morning a glorious Anchettas cobra, and all for the new series of Deadly 60, which will be coming out very soon. Already got new Deadly 60 out on the ABC in Australia, and in Canada as well, and it'll be coming out around the world. How bad would it be if the inland taipan was aggressive and lived near people, asks Max. Do you know what? I mean, it's not an aggressive snake, but with the toxicity of venom, any bite is going to be serious. Thing is, though, is that there is an anti-venom. So in Australia, there is one. If people are bitten and they can get to care relatively quickly, then it's likely to be less serious than something like the Suriname coral snake, which has no antivenin, which is much more likely to be very serious and to have little or no chance of being able to properly treat it. I've got a bear on my shoulder. I really like that. What else have we got here? Say hello to Craig. Hello, Craig. How are you? What's my favorite snake variation? Where we are right now, the Anchettas cobra that I caught this morning, there are variations of it that can be banded almost black and ivory run down the entire length of the animal, which is just stunning. So, right, you guys, I am all done, all talked out. It's been an absolute joy speaking to you all on YouTube and on TikTok. Thank you very much for all your questions. One more time, I'm just going to say that I am going to be in Australia in January on my Ocean Live tour. So check out places like Ticketek for information and for getting tickets. We are going to be in Perth on the 9th of January. Then we're going to be in Brisbane, Melbourne, Canberra, Adelaide, Sydney, and Newcastle as well. Some saying hello from Perth. Well, hello to you too. I really hope that you managed to come along because yeah, it's going to be an absolute cracking show. We've done it 3 times now in the UK to more than 100,000 people, and it's gone great. So yeah, Newcastle Oz, exactly. Newcastle, Australia is where I'm going to be coming to. Hello from Adelaide. Hello to you too. I'm afraid we're not going to be coming to Tasmania this time round. I'm really, really sorry, but we will do next time, I promise. Hello from Melbourne, says Cesar. Hello, Hayden. How you doing? Really good to speak to all of you guys. So yeah, absolutely. I will 100% be there in January in Australia, and I'm very much to see you all on my Ocean Live tour. And also, check out Deadly 60 on ABC and on the iView and on CBBC and iPlayer and all sorts of other places besides. And all the very best from me, Stevie B.